Ah, a new face in the tap house. I'd like to welcome you to the Kitsune Cafe's Taproom. Here, we like to allow our guests to sample some of our favorite tastes and opinions on various things. In general, we handpick our top personal 10 on tap for your enjoyment. So, without further ado, greetings, I'm Anayu, and I'll be your server for this Taproom Top 10. Let's talk about video game music, shall we? Specifically, Final Fantasy XIV's. I can say without a doubt, this MMO is massive, spanning across multiple expansions and still going. It has got to be one of my favorite games to date, and it has some of my favorite music as well. From overworld tracks, to dungeon ambiance, all the way to its expansive raids and fight songs. But none of them get me more excited and ready for a fight than the Trials and Primal songs. And that's a good thing too, since I tend to listen to them often whilst farming for my mounts. Why won't you drop Hades Quiver? It's been forever, please help. Now, for this video, I'm going to be including all Trials and Primal themes under the Trials tab, all the way to Shadowbringers. And only those in the Trial tab under Duty Finder for today. I'll be including all parts of the music for the specific trial as well to be factored into the ranking. That includes the intro songs all the way to their final phase. I won't be judging on specific phases, but as a whole. With that being said, let's dine in. Starting us off at number 10, Garuda's theme, Fallen Angel. The opening cutscene really threw me off the first time I saw this. The fade in with the Corthus organ, the gentle piano playing throughout, and the vocals singing ominously gives you the feel of a graceful bird landing upon the stones, until it gets to the now fall, and then it says psych and slaps you upside the head with a roaring guitar solo and drums, and it says, nah, I'm a rock song now, while still keeping much of its early motifs and keeping the violin strings in the background, with howling, siren-like high notes for the effect of wind whipping past your face. It's early content, and there's plenty better than this, but I have a soft spot for it nonetheless. Going on to number 9, we have Good King Mogglmog. I'm going to say this is one of my least favorite primals to fight. It's long, kinda arduous, and doesn't feel too great as far as mechanics go. But the only thing that makes it bearable is the catchy and easy to sing music. It's witty, cute, and funny when you listen to these Moogles sing about how they're going to kill you in various ways, and revere their good king. The music score itself has a Danny Elfman Nightmare Before Christmas vibe, and it's the perfect accompaniment for this ragtag band of whimsical Moogles, Koopa. Marching in at number 8, we have Ravana's theme, Unbending Steel. Did you want a bombastic Disney villain song march? Did you want a giant war god bug to be singing it? Well, you're in luck. Ravana's got that in spades. The opening song in the start sounds like a graceful but powerful waltz, as he weaves his arms through the air swaying to the music, only to grab that brass and blare it to the heavens in phase 2. Now is a war march, and you can hear the way the lyrics speak as if Ravana himself were singing of his conquest to come. Perfect for the swordsman motif for Ravana. Then it allows you to rest with a small interlude of strings before ramping all the way back up to the next verse. Coming in at number 7, we have Cinder Rift, the Ruby Weapon. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way now. I did not like this song at first. All I could hear in the beginning was big fat tacos. And it's ruined the song for me for so long. I couldn't hear anything else. But as I farmed this fight more and more, I kept hearing the small little nods to Ultima in the Maker's Ruin, which is one of my favorite melodies in the game. Until, more and more, I gradually started to enjoy it. It's a good fight and a catchy beat that gets you ready to go over and over again, at least until you get your mount. Just try not to eat Mexican food while fighting. Next in at number 6, we have Tsukuyomi's theme, A Wayward Daughter. Ah, this will be a long night indeed. The goddess of the moon, Tsukuyomi. The song itself feels like a feverish dance under the moonlight. The high chorus, singing almost as if weeping. The piano as it plays along the chords, coupled with the strong drum beat driving that dance ever forward, keeps me wanting more. This theme gives me the sorrow and anger trapped within our heart as it cries out for deliverance. How soothing of our dear Yotsuyu, who has known nothing but strife in her life, and was granted but a brief respite of ignorance for a time, before being swept back into her old ways against her will. Truly a tragic circumstance, and this song captures every bit of its bittersweet symphony. Next at number 5, we have Shinryu's theme. Listen to those strings, listen to that brass! The fanfare simply begs itself to be epic! It screams final battle and it lives up to the hype. The song itself draws on it before leading up to the crescendo, reprising many of the best songs from Stormblood that we've heard before we got here, making it feel all the more like a culmination of our journey to face this beast of a primal. And that's just the first phase. Once you get the last phase, the hype and lead up pays off to a powerful, driving chorus that keeps the beat going. It takes your hand and pulls you from one verse to the next until it throws you off the edge with the Stormblood main battle theme as a climax. What a way to end a story arc. Number 4, Suzaku's theme. A dance within fire and feather. This is Suzaku the Phoenix's theme. This beat slaps, I can't even lie, it gets me bouncing my head every time I hear it. The drums drive it, the flutes accent it beautifully, and the koto accompanied with the vocals that sing with just a bit of anger laced within it is superb. The song itself sounds like an elegant fan dance sweeping in and out and all around. Fitting, considering the rhythm game vibes of the mechanics that lend to the fight itself. It's a perfect blend of rock and elegance, like fire dancing upon the wings of a bird. Coming in at number 3 is Titania's theme, What Angel Wakes Me. Once upon a midsummer night's dream, I couldn't get this song out of my head. The gentle, playful waltz glides and weaves through the song from one stanza to the next. It's whimsical, lovable, and catchy as hell. A perfect dance partner to the king of the Fae themselves, Titania, whose only wish was to play as we waltz on and on to our doom. And with each step, we fa-la-la-la-la further into madness. At number 2, we have Hades Elegy, Who Brings Shadow. On wings of shadow, away we fly. I've gotta say, with those first few guitar chords, you know what you're in for. The vocals whisper in and you're face to face with your enemy. Oh, it gets me every time. The lyrics for this is great, and the constant reprises of the other Shadowbringers tracks just make me melt, only to give way to the final phase, blaring choirs that scream final clash with destiny on each note. The dissonance of the harmonies is perfect and chilling all in the same. The marching fanfare of horns edging you further into the rift is splendid and gets you ready to stay on the edge of the void in our final round with Hades. And before we get to number 1, I have a few honorable mentions. First, we have Sephiroth, Fiend. The final phase song for Fiend is a good, grungy beat that includes what sounds like a dial tone in the background. It makes me feel a bit nostalgic for those garage punk style songs of the past. Speaking of vocals, when you look at these lyrics, watch yourself. They've got an edge. Jeez, makes you think that Frey came in here and wrote them. And the next honorable mention we have is Bismarck. I love the intro to this fight. The music makes me think of some of those retro games like Mega Man or something. It sounds like a revamped 8-bit song remixed into the Primal theme. Its driving is almost electronic, that reflects the tension in the air. But the second phase music lost my interest, unfortunately. It just doesn't grab my attention, and fades into the background and is hardly the main focus of the fight, similar to Bismarck himself. And finally, at number 1, we have the Warrior of Light's theme, To the Edge. Time circles endlessly, and the ticking clock in the background, acting as a metronome, reminds you with each second. I adore this song. Before this even came out, I usually find myself flying around Amarat, listening to the beautiful background track, 'Neath Dark Waters, simply because of the background music there. And here we are, gifted with lyrics to it in the fight. Not only that, but the lyrics itself, spoken from the point of view of Elidibus and what drives him, make it so sorrowful. Yet, we have the Shadowbringer's rock trademark bringing the cards to the table. The minor key makes it feel more sorrowful than the triumph that we're used to with this track, and it drives home the weight of this fight. Not to mention, we have the same singer from Metal Gear Rising in the lead vocals of this, and he brings it full force here. It is, what I believe, one of the best tracks in Shadowbringers to date. And there's my top taps for the primals and trials for Final Fantasy XIV. And yes, I'm more than aware the top 3 of them are all from the latest expansions. It's called Shadow Bangers for a reason, after all. Frankly, this was a hard list to make, and my own favorites can change from day to day at times. Most of Final Fantasy's music is spectacular, so it's not easy to match up by any means. With all that said and done, what are your favorites? Do you agree with my list, or perhaps you believe I've got it all wrong? Feel free to gush and discuss your favorites in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more from the cafe in the future. However, until then, we'll keep the coffee warm for you. Farewell, my friends.